Impact? I don't know. The first one got a lot of revolt because, there's a lot of blacks that feel like they're discriminated against, so they react to everything in the U.S. But this one doesn't get much revolt, but it doesn't sell the product either, right? I mean, does that picture sell the product? No. And so, what do you think? What do you think could be better? Let's think about that for a minute. What are they trying to say? What are they trying to sell? Okay, and that's why I'm going to work on some methodologies and techniques for you to understand how we sell things. How people think about products, why they buy them. That's entrepreneurial. That's a new product they're introducing. Some internal entrepreneur created this new product that's selling, or that they wanted to sell, and it failed mainly because of the advertising. And so we don't want that to happen. They need your image for the product, the advertising for the product is as much a part of the product as anything else. And so I'm now checking to see if I shaved well or not. But the shaving product is a good example of people that just don't understand their customer. And so let's think about what could be differently. Why do people choose a shaving product? Okay. So they choose something, whatever it was. Maybe it was something to get a better, smoother shave. Okay. So they chose that. Why? Okay, they chose this new product because it had extra grease in it or something. And they chose it because it would give them a smoother shave, right? Okay? And why is that important to the people? Why do people care about having a smooth shave?
I think they wanted to see themselves as nice and clean.
They want to look nice and clean, professional. Yeah, either that or they don't want to scratch their girlfriend's face. But so they want to look nice and clean and professional, and why is that? No, I'm trying to make you think. Why do people want to look nice and clean and professional?
Because I think they wanted to be respected.
They want to be respected, okay? And that's important to people for their own personal feelings and for their business success, right? Okay. So, having this whatever kind of grease in the product, gives them the benefit of a smoother shave and gives them, a higher level emotional payoff or value of being respected, right? Okay. Could you make a different ad that did better than this one then?
Right. I'm thinking about the idea that I think you heard about the story of the English guy Robinson. He lived in an island for a while, and he ends up with lots of parents and beards. We can think about arts that when he came back to the city, he tried to make himself look better and nicer by using his products to shape his beards.
Okay. Yeah, that could be one if you want to illustrate a change kind of thing. I think maybe you might be hooked into the perspective of you have to show the before thing, with a beard. But I say throw that away. I mean, hello, how are you? I say throw that part away. Let's just focus on not the before, focus on the after. Okay, what what are they gonna get out of it? Okay, smooth shave, and let's show some pictures that show people respecting them, or so them being popular, or, or whatever. And so, try and show the payoff, not the problem so much, especially when it's a problem. What do you think?
I think the best would be the meeting with other people and the guys with clean, nice shape.
Right. So could be a meeting where they're respecting them. Could be a social gathering. You could, go over the top and do something that doesn't happen to people. Some, very model-like woman running their hand across his face or whatever. Well, you have to exaggerate a little bit, right? But what I'm trying to get is we think about how the product connects to people, and that's how we position products and sell them. When we talk about potential gain that people will get, what's the gain from that product? The gain is the smooth shave, right? Okay, so focus on the gain, in terms of here, and then focus on what in the product delivers that gain, and you deliver that message, and you win. That's it. You game over. Okay. I wonder how many people. Hi. Can you hear me when I'm talking, or is it more you're just reading stuff? It's very frustrating. But I'll do the best I can. You can explain to everyone later.
Rồi em vẫn biết là hay là thầy hỏi những người muộn chứ. Explain everyone later. Là thầy hỏi những người muộn là.
It's okay. That's the way it is. So I'm gonna see if I can get a video to work today. So let's see. Speakers
Thầy
on.
không có bạn rồi.
See if it'll work. This one.
Thầy có video tự tải.
Hi. Could you ask her?
Nói thầy bảo cái tiếng.
Is there any way to get sound in videos here?
You need to turn on sound on
That's from this one.
My mom's dad, my grandfather, was a car guy. He had several different cars that had different purposes in terms of how he used them. He had a 1970 Plymouth
Can you hear that?
Barracuda that was violently orange and black, and of course it had a Hemi.
Wait, let me stop. All right. This is a lead product designer for some very successful automobiles for Ford Industry, Ford Corporation. He designed the Ford Taurus, which now is gone, but for several years was the leading selling car in the U.S. and competed with Camry for the lead spot for several years. So a very successful designer, talking about what guides him in his design. And, you know, it comes from understanding his culture.
My mom's dad, my grandfather, was a car guy. He had several different cars that had different purposes in terms of how he would use them. He had a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda that was vitamin C orange and black, and of course it had a Hemi. He had a 1979 F-150 that was brown and white that he used for work, and he kept that truck impeccably clean. He had 4 cars, but the one to me that stood out was his 1984 Lincoln Continental. Now this car was tone on tone, dark blue. It had wire wheels that were blinked out. It had an anti-wedge design line that went from the headlamps to the tail lamps, intersected the door handles, and it had an integrated Continental kit in the deck lid. When he drove this car, when he arrived or appeared in this car, he put on his best attire. He would put on his hat. He'd even wear his cheap cologne. But when he drove this car, he drove it ever so carefully. He would make a turn and really drive it incredibly precise. And even when he landed in his destination, he would pause a bit, let that car run, and then exit. Like in so many things in this life, there's always transition. And when my grandfather passed away, that car was given to my mother. And we drove that car to Kingston, and we drove it to church. And it was one of the very first times that I was allowed to lead our family, of course, under the watchful eye of my mother, criticizing every turn that I made in that car. But this car gave me a great connection with my grandfather. But not only that, it gave me a rite of passage into my adulthood. It was a car that I drove to my high school prom. I believe that with this car, my grandfather taught me the imperatives of one of the fundamentals about car design. Let's fast forward to 2021. Currently, I am now a chief designer at Lincoln Motor Company, and I play a part in bringing these Lincoln products to the marketplace. But it is the lesson that my grandfather taught me about car design that I take with me and I pour into every product that we do at Lincoln. The fundamentals of car design are centered around 3 things: brand, design, and narrative. And really, in my 23-year career at Ford Motor Company, it's oscillated between mainly brand and design. And when I use the word brand, I'm really referring to morals that we stand for. And when I use design, I'm talking about done with intent. Now, these are very liberal definitions at the moment, but we will get to the key ingredient, which is narrative. Let's talk brand first. Brand, of course, when we're talking about design, there's always an identity with the logo. There's, of course, the tenets, our philosophy in which we stand for, and then the mantra, which is used as a repeated phrase that really goes at the heartstrings of our customer. So let's do a case study. Of course, everyone knows that the Lincoln Star is the guiding principle. We are known for being named after Abraham Lincoln. The philosophy with our brand has always been about being human. And then, of course, the repeated phrase that we're using at the moment is the power of sanctuary. But there is a fantastic metaphor that we're using here in this imagery, where we're using this baby in a crib. The brand, of course, our products, of course, are the crib, and the serenity that our customers feel on the inside with the baby. But don't drive while sleeping. So brand is powerful, but brand alone is not enough. Of course, let's talk about design. Now, this time, when we refer to design, we're talking about the artistic elements that designers get the opportunity to manipulate as they create geometry. So there are 5 elements. There is proportion. We're talking about, when we say proportion, we mean the pattern. And when we talk about form, we're talking about the attire, or the fashion, or the geometry. Graphics, of course, is the brand, line, and then there's color and texture. Let's do a case study again. product. When I say the surface, the form, this is the fashion, this is the surface that needs to echo the philosophy. If we tell you we're a human brand, then our surface, our form language needs to communicate that clearly. The surface can clearly communicate the ethos of our brand. There's a reason why cars in the 50s, the cars in the 70s look the way they do, because they were fashioned to be that way. Graphics are the two-dimensional elements that communicate to the customer what brand we're specifically talking about. For example, the headlamps, the tail lamps, the grill communicates the brand, and that philosophy, the ethos, has to be communicated with two-dimensional graphics applied to a three-dimensional surface. And then, of course, the emphasis, the move, of course, is emphasized by the lines and the details that we put in surface or the things we decide to highlight with chrome or bright finishes. And then, of course, the culmination of all these elements together gives you the mood, gives you the emotion that we were evoking with said product. So, let's talk about the key ingredient. I showed you earlier that there were three fundamentals to car design. The reality is that in everything we do, every design we make, narrative has to be even more important. And even this graphic alone does not communicate how significant narrative is. Narrative has to be integrated into the entire design process of said product. It has to be in the brand, it has to be within design, it has to clearly be communicated. And when we say narrative, we do not mean just mere storytelling. It is the customer intimacy. When my grandfather was role playing in his bad clothes, or his good clothes and his bad cologne, he was role playing with that product, and that was the narrative that made his life rich. When we use narrative, we have to, as a brand, need to know their dreams, but their aspirations. When he would wear those types of clothes, he was presenting himself in a way to be accepted by his tribe. Narrative is a bit of fantasy, and when he would show up, he would want to show his better self. That's how important narrative is in terms of creating product design. And of course, we want them to be accepted by the tribe. When narratives are applied through the entire product creation, it allows us to see our customers in stark and entertaining ways. My grandfather knew instinctively. He knew that cars were more than a tire, but they could be leading characters and add more depth to our own personal personas. He may not word it that way. But cars can assist the feeling of occasion. And if we as designers can capture that emotion with shape and form, we can create something more meaningful in our products. But we can capture a memory. Remember, people will never remember all the things we orchestrated, write, and we say to them, but they will never forget how we made them feel. Brand matters. Selecting products that align with your personal ethos aids in making your life more grand and can give our life richness. There are a ton of the definition of a car is being modified and changed as we live in these modern days. We all know that autonomous is coming. Electrification products are here. But as designers, we have to always keep the human at the center. We have to remember that cars move people. But can we design cars that people are moved by? Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure. Could you follow his accent, or was it difficult to understand?
It's difficult to understand.
Yeah. Well, it was difficult for you. It's probably difficult for everyone else. But but at least he had some good slides. But explaining that, a big part of what he develops and what he entrepreneurs is, emotional communication to people, but giving them, benefits in their life that are not just transportation. So cars mean a lot more to people than transportation. And in the U.S. is just car crazy. I'm sorry, people pay way too much for cars. Some people are making over $1,000 a month in car payments to buy a car, and that's like 25 million, being dollars a month they pay just in car payments. And that's because they can't afford to buy the car. They're making payments because they can't afford it. So people go way in debt just to buy cars, not just for transportation. They can get cheaper cars, but they go way in debt because they want all these things the car does for them. The imagery that goes with it, the different types of status, or the way it makes them feel, or how comfortable they are, or they want to feel they deserve the reward, so they bought themselves that nice car. But it's amazing the amount of debt that people have gone into in the U.S. Just to buy fashionable cars, and so it's really a very interesting phenomenon. So he's talking about, like, he's got the brand, and he's got the narrative, and he's got the car, and putting all those things together. And so how do we specify what our product means to customers? I mean, we've talked about developing customer profiles, right? We develop our customer demand profiles. Remember those? We're reviewing already. And we developed our customer value match for the product. And we talk, those are like gains and pains type circles, right? So today we're going to talk more. I introduced you to means-end theory last class, and I want to talk more about that today and get you to practice that in a workshop type of thing this afternoon to get the hang of it. Learn how to use means-end theory. You learn how to use laddering so that you can understand customers better. Like I led you to work through what people want out of a shading product, right? This is how we think when we're doing laddering. And you could call it a theory. I call it a philosophy of understanding what motivates people and why they make choices. I use it in marketing. I use it when I write political speeches for people. I use it in human resources when I try and understand why people, how we can get better retention from people, looking at why they stay at a job. So, understanding people's motivations and decision making is pretty important. Imagine you had a magic skill that you could persuade anyone in the world to do what you wanted them to do. That'd be nice, right? Okay, so that's what I'm going to try and teach you. So we're reviewing now. A few days ago we talked about customer profiles, and we try and imagine what a typical customer would be for our product so we can target them. What we're really talking about is like a subgroup or a segment, okay? We're thinking this is what one segment of our customers would look like. And if you have several customer profiles, you're really saying you have several segments, and and you're kind of describing what a typical person in that segment would look like, correct? And so we have those. And you can say, oh, I know my customer now, but it's not enough, okay? It's still not enough. Because we see people using all this, and they're still losing and having huge failures because they're making mistakes for their customers. So I think we need to do a little bit more on this. Okay? And we have the consumer demand profile, customer demand profile, could be business customers. Okay, so you remember this slide with pains and gains and customer jobs. Okay, here's the thing: that, you know, you can do a product that relieves pains or avoids pains for people, but most products are about gains. And in most messaging that you're gonna say to people is about gains. People don't wanna hear about pains, they wanna hear about gains, okay? If, you know, people don't wanna be told that they're ugly. They wanna be told this product will make you beautiful, okay? Right? You don't want anybody to tell you you're ugly, right?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you want people to say, this product will make you beautiful. All right, we don't need to go to the ugly part. Okay, so forget about the pains, go for the gains. That's where the real, you know, bounty is for marketers. Is that people want gains. And any pain, you can just rephrase it, right? Like I just did with, you know, beautiful and ugly. It's like just, you know, yes, we're relieving the ugly part. No, we're giving them the beautiful part. So we're flipping it, you know, everything can be rephrased to put in a positive tone. You know, you don't need to do anything in a negative tone. And so we have these pains and gains and customer jobs. And all right, that's getting on a start on the right track. And it helps us think somewhat about the product. And so we've got our customer over here with the things they would like to have and the things they don't have, and you know, and what they have to do. And we've got our product then with the value map that you're making up, and they're obviously making these, trying to link them together, right? Okay, and they've got their gain creators and their pain relievers and key performance characteristics. And it's good that we think this way, and that we have the one thing connected to the other, and that, you know, oh yeah, we're gonna have, you know, these simple things. But meaning and psychology and the way people think is deeper than this. And, you know, I want to go a little bit further down and try and work on this means-end theory as a really good tool that you can use for any kind of situation. Personal selling, you're selling one thing to another. I've done training for, you know, car lots, for car salespeople on how to sell cars. And, you know, they use the means-end theory that I'm going to teach you. And a lot of them do it naturally, but it's a really good philosophy. So it's missing from this picture, and we'll get it connected. But I want to look for, you know, a better way to do things than just, you know, drawing the circles and kind of hoping by magic they're going to fit together. Magic, you know, I'm not good at magic. My hands are too slow. But, you know, we need a better approach, because even experts are making huge mistakes. McDonald's, you know, makes huge mistakes, but they can afford to. They can make $100 million mistakes, but they do it. You know, other companies make, you know, huge mistakes like this. Nivea just made, I showed you their mistake, that was, you know, several years ago. But it happens all the time. If I watch advertising, I can't watch it anymore because so much of it doesn't offend me because it's offensive. It offends me because it's bad advertising all the time. But many people don't understand their customers. They introduce products or design products based on misunderstandings, and they misprice things. They do a lot of mistakes, and most of these failures are related to not understanding their customers right. Okay, so today I want to make you experts on on the means-end philosophy, which I guess I'm kind of a world expert at. I've been using it for almost 35 years, and I think that it's something that it's not an academic theory as much as, hi, how are you? It's not an academic, it's an academic theory, but it's also a real life business theory. We use it in business all the time. We use it for designing product strategies and marketing strategies for gigantic corporations. It's used in, many, many places. So it's something that's very valuable to you. And, it's a good tool to have. Trust me, if you just learn this well, it pays for your whole MBA because it'll give you that much gains in your product, in what you do in the future. And so everything else you got here is free. Okay? So we work, it's kind of based on understanding why people do things. All right, don't get upset when I say this, but humans are animals. And animals are goal-seeking creatures. They do things to achieve a goal, right? Usually, for a lot of animals it's eating, but humans have a luxury of doing more than that. But we're goal-seeking creatures. How do you set your goals? What sets your goals in life? All right. This is a question, that helps you understand yourself better sometimes too. What do you? You're good at logic. You're good at rational thinking. You're good at figuring out how to get from A to B. Great. But what sets your major goals in life? And if you think about it, it's your personal emotional goals, or sometimes we call them personal values, but that gets confused with economic value. But your personal emotional goals in life are the things that set your goals for you. You have things that you want, and that's what motivates you. That's why you try and do everything. Most people have, only about 7 things that are really important to them. If you really, really think about it, there's only a few things that are really important to you. There's, your family, your respect, sense of belonging, safety and security, these kind of things. These are the only things that are really important, and you just find lots of different ways to reach those goals. Anybody hear that? Does that make sense to you?
A little.
What?
I think it's
A little bit?
A little bit.
Should I try again? Yeah. How do you decide what you want in life? How do you make any kind of decision or choice is guided by your emotions and what you want. All right. You have sometimes people. Have you ever heard in pop psychology they talk about left brain and right brain? There's so many people that talk about that. It's so irritating because I don't want to deal with half brain people. We're talking about a whole brain. Okay, left and right work together. We have our emotional, nebulous emotional kind of things, and we have our we use our rational process to achieve these emotional goals. Okay, those two horses work together. They don't work in separate directions. So, what we're talking about here is, a person, has personal emotional goals or personal values that they're trying to satisfy. Okay? And they use these products in some kind of rational process of how it helps them satisfy their goals. Okay? Some of you are maybe starting to get it, but I don't know. But let's see. So we call them features, of a product. Okay? Got product features. We use some kind of functional benefit and a practical benefit. Okay, so let's use the shaving cream for an example again, because you like that. Okay, it's not as big a product, I don't think, in Asia as in the US. Like people in the US have more bristly beards, I think. More animals. Features, and functional benefits are, like, okay, it helps the razor cut better, okay? And then practical benefit would be, okay, gives me a smoother face that my girlfriend likes to touch, okay? And then, emotional payoff is I feel better about myself and other people like me better, right? Okay? So we could, have this features relates to emotional payoff. So this is how these are rational decisions. Okay, this is how well you can connect A to B to C. That's rationality, right? That's your, I guess, left brain kind of is what they call it. But this is more like your emotions, your other part of your brain. So they work together. This is the goal setting process of your life, the emotions and values you have. And this is the rational way that you make decisions. Almost every decision you make is going to relate into this in this fashion. Okay? Okay. All right, let me see if you remember. I'm going to quiz you. Is an attribute important? Is a product feature important if it doesn't connect to a benefit? You knew this last week. Try again. Remember, I asked you questions last week. How important is a product feature if it doesn't connect to any benefit?
No.
0, right, there, okay, now you remember, right. If product features don't connect to a benefit, they have no value, right? Okay, and if a benefit doesn't connect to an emotional payoff, it has no value, okay? Unless things connect all the way through, they're worthless, okay? And so you're wasting a lot of time on, if features don't give people a payoff, it doesn't matter. Sometimes when you look at buying a laptop PC and you look through like lots of different features on it, are some of them meaningless to you? Yeah, they're either meaningless or it takes you an hour to look up to figure out what they are, right? And so, I wouldn't say you need to take it out of the laptop, but it's not something that is a marketing point. It doesn't sell, right? So, but it sells for some people. So I guess I'll drop that example. But anyway, we want to work on this and try and understand how people make decisions. If you, let's see. I want to, buy some food at the grocery store. Okay, and I found a nice jar of like these brown cubes inside of it, and so I bought that, and I lived for several days. I mean, I think it's made out of sugar cane, and but it's really good. But how do I choose what I buy? Okay, and why do I buy it? Should I buy that? Well, let me think. It's all sugar, right? It's like so. Sugar, if I'm eating sugar, I like it, I'm happy, but so I eat sugar because it makes me feel good and it gives me like just a sensation of feeling good, and which is a legitimate emotional payoff. It gives me some temporary euphoria. Well, what's the other downside? It's a feature of sugar, and it's got a lot of calories in it, right? And it might make me chubby or something, so that would make me feel a little bad about myself, okay? And I'd have to buy new clothes and things like that. It'd be terrible. But try and figure out the meaning of eating too much sugar. Which way does it go? All right, does it go towards, we've got two meanings, right? We've got the meaning that connects to personal satisfaction and the meaning that connects to, like, you know, your long-term, you know, attractiveness and your, you know, and your health kind of thing. So only if you're not worried about your long-term health do you do things like that. So, so anyway, we try and connect these things. If, you know, let's say, how about you're thinking about where to get a MBA degree? Anybody think about that at all? Did you ever think about that? No? Just happened by accident? Okay, but, all right, you're thinking about your choice of where to go for an MBA. And, all right, so different schools have different offerings and different features, right? And so, let me see. Let's see. Shall I ask questions? Let's see. I picked on her enough. Just remember, sir. But let's see, who else can I pick on? How about you? Can I pick on you? I'm going to ask you questions.
Yes.
All right. So, what did you consider any other schools for your MBA?
Yes, I did, but finally I chose an MBA course.
What's that?
I think it's suitable for me, maybe and it's with my skill and my career path, so I choose an MBA course.
Okay. What other schools did you think about?
Actually, after graduated university, I will consider MBA course and then a Master of Lebanese is my major, and so finally I choose MBA.
Okay. But, did you think of it? Did you think of any? Did you think of any other schools you might go to?
School?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
What other schools?
Business school in Paris.
Business.
So, I don't remember the name of school.
But why did you choose this one instead of that?
There are many reasons, such as schedules, that schedule is not very suitable for me, and so it's sure easy for me to follow the sport, the course, and I think it is the main reason.
Schedule. Okay. All right. So this is how I interview people. Is that you have to talk to them and get them to talk about a decision they made. She decided. She made. You know, we talked for a few minutes, but we got finally to the point of how did you choose this school instead of someone else, and that came down to schedule, right? Okay. So schedule would be the feature that guided her choice. I was hoping she would say it was because of the intelligent, handsome professors, but oh well. Anyway, nobody gets my jokes. This is, or maybe they're not funny. So schedule is the product feature. What's the benefit of that to her? What? Let's go back and open her brain up some more. Hi, we're not done with you. Okay. Why is schedule important to you? Why is having the schedule important? The schedule important?
Yes, because besides the study, I had to work. So I had to balance study plan and work plan. So I wanted to schedule a week suitable for we have you balances between work and study.
Okay. So, you know, functional is, to, fit it in with their job, right? And, higher level benefit is to have a work-life balance, right? And then, and to you, like personally, this is hard, but don't leave me yet. Come back. Come on. Come on, you can do it. It's only 5 minutes of attention span. Okay, personally for you, why is having a work-life balance, important to you?
I think work-life balance is important for everyone.
Yeah, I know, but why? Why is it important?
People have a lot of things to care in their life, and not always, not one thing always. So we need balances to how to say.
Well, I'm interested. Not, you might think everybody's the same, but they're not. I'm wondering, why is balance important to you personally?
How to say.
Well, anyway, I won't make you answer. But this is where the interviewing gets harder, but you have to do it to push to get to, finding out what people's different emotional goals are. And like you said, there might be more than one that satisfies, but it might be too much work. Some people want a good work-life balance to take care of family, okay? Some people want a good work-life balance for their own personal well-being, because they like to meditate and things. But people have different reasons for having a good work-life balance. So that's what I was trying to push her. And if it was a private one-on-one interview, I would have pushed her to get the answer. But I didn't want to hurt her in front of all of you. I got 5 minutes out of her, or maybe 4 minutes. That's pretty good. So, let's talk about meat, all right? Any vegetarians here?
No.
Oh, that's good. Let's talk about meat. I've got, there was some people that were doing a study looking at introducing plant-based meat substitutes. The kind of stuff I'm talking about, right? And they interviewed people, and a lot of people said they wanted an alternative to meat, and so we interviewed them on why. And so the typical response would be, why do I want an alternative to meat? Well, because the meat's high in fat, or meat, and that's not healthy for me, and that kind of thing, or different other kind of things. Now I have people telling me they want to eat meat because fat's good for them. So people are very confused about that. But I on the next page I put up some charts of what people said, just some examples of means and change about meat, and keep thinking about walking to school today and walk past a big table with lots of meat on it. But what?
At the local markets, right?
Yeah, I can't convince myself to buy meat that way. I don't know. So let's look at the two chains here. But I want you to think about what this meat substitute entrepreneurs what should they be concerned about? What should they be thinking about when they look at these things, these charts, to make sure just not being meat isn't really good enough, okay? It's gotta satisfy people's goals to survive the long run. Okay. So, I'll just look at that for, what happened?
She said that she gotta go.
Okay, bye. All right, so that looks nice, right? I don't know where I can buy that in town. But, okay, so one person said, I don't want to have meat because it gives me cholesterol, and cholesterol is going to give me clogged arteries, and that's going to be unhealthy. All right, and so that's one kind of chain that we got from people that's unhealthy. I would have pushed it farther and say, why do they care about their health? But some people don't. So let's see. Another person said, that it has high fat content, okay? And it's gonna make me gain weight, and I'll be unattractive, and I'll lack self-respect, okay? Again, it's all propaganda, but if you're making a meat substitute, plant-based meat substitute, I don't know, you can go grab a bunch of mushrooms and mash them up and make this stuff you call meat. All right. What do you need to worry about for long-term success?
I'm not a vegan, but there are a lot of vegan tours for tourists, and we still don't understand what is behind this vegan people. They say that vegan foods are more healthy, and because of their religions as well.
Okay, so yeah, right now we're trying to market to people who aren't vegans, who are trying to stop eating meat, right? But let's set the vegan part aside. I notice I can go to India and find you a lot of people that are very unhealthy that are vegetarians, because it doesn't just avoiding meat doesn't make it healthy, and what they have to worry about is making their products healthy too. If they want to attract people to give up meat, to eat their Impossible Burgers, is what they call them in the U.S. at least, then it has to meet these standards too. One of the problems that has slowed the adoption, McDonald's is selling something they call Impossible Burgers, or is it? No, Burger King is, but they're selling these Impossible Burgers that are vegetarian burgers, right? And one of the things that slows them is that they're finding out they're not any healthier than the meat products. So it's kind of, what's the point, right? So when you understand why people are choosing something, then you have to make sure that your product meets those things, okay? So they have to try and make their product not just avoid meat and not just taste good, but they also have to make it healthy too, because that's the real motivation people are switching to it for, okay? So people have to worry about the health part. Vegan, whole another ballgame. Avoiding dairy products and eggs, really cuts down on your fat content a lot. So in many cases, usually, we'll do interviews like I did this poor woman a few minutes ago. And we'll interview people and get them to make decisions. And I'm going to want you to practice doing that later today. And, with each other, we'll give you several topics, we'll practice it, and we'll use it. Because it's, I want to do, not just talk about things and forget them. I want you to know these things. So, think about customer profile. Okay, so think about a profile. And then you can imagine what their means and chain would be. We're pretty smart, right? You can imagine what they would be. Actually, you know, it's not that easy to do if you don't know the customers really well. So, but we can pretend to do it for now. But if it's something you're very familiar with, like, you know, you're familiar with a lot of tourist motivations and choices, you could probably think about 3 or 5 different types of customers you have, and then you could tell me the things they choose and why they choose them if I, you know, help you through the process. So you could come up with a pretty good chart of all the different means and chains that your customers have if you stop to think about it, because you know them very well. Because how many customers have you dealt with?
6,000.
6,000?
A year.
Yeah, so you've met a lot of people.
Sometimes it's not really logical, and I don't really like to argue with this big leaders. They sometimes say that it's better for the environment, but I don't really think being vegan helps the environment at all. I just want to.
Oh, no, you just have to let them go with it. You know,
Because they're customers.
there's some couple of good vegetarian restaurants around. There's several good.
Local, most of the time it's local street food restaurants.
No, I went to a very nice, elegant one over in Old Town. I can tell you where it is. I'm not a vegetarian, but I went to dinner with somebody that was, so I had to. So anyway, you can imagine what people want to do, and you know, you can imagine why they're choosing things, or you might know, but you can think through and make out means and change. And you could probably list that for several things. Like if we talk about cars, we think about, you know, okay, mom with 2 kids and, you know, and lives in the suburbs and needs to, you know, buy groceries and take kids to school. What do they need, right? You know, what kind of car do they need? Well, then, you know, we can make the description further about income and how far they drive and all these other things. So we think about these profiles, you can figure out the changes, but you have to think through that philosophy. You have to understand how the product connects to the people, okay? If you don't chart that out, you know, you'll get lost, okay? So, you know, often people have several different ways that products are relevant. It's not just one reason. Like when I talked to this poor woman, and what's your name again? Christine?
My name's Lee.
Lee. Thank you, Lee. When I talked to Lee, we picked on her, you know, but she has several reasons why she chooses one MBA program or another. But you know, we go through and she might give me 3 reasons at first. I'd write them all down, and then I'd try and figure out the benefits from each one of those and see how consistent they are. But that's how we understand products. That's how we understand how people are making choices. And if you don't understand that, then you how can you sell? How can you do anything? How can you make it? How can you design a product for people if you don't understand why they're buying it, right? Let's look at another one.
Các bạn hơi mạnh.
Sneakers, okay? Sneaker decisions, okay? In terms of means and chains, like, I want you to take a second. Do you have paper? Anybody need a piece of paper? I brought some with me. Try and think of the reason why people want to buy the most expensive sneaker. I mean, I always try and look for the most inexpensive sneaker, but some people go to the store and they try and buy the most expensive sneakers. Why do they do that? So try and make me, I see the thing that people are doing, they're buying something that's most expensive, but, try and explain to me, try and figure out the benefits or consequences of that, and, their personal payoff. So just take a minute and try and figure that out. And, I will mix myself another coffee while you're thinking about that. Do you have any questions? Do you understand me?
This part is I'm not understanding.
What?
This part I'm not understanding.
You don't understand
This part.
this task?
This part. This line.
You don't understand?
I understand about the product and anything else.
Because I told people to get out a piece of paper and write down this, and nobody's doing it on this side of the room. So, you don't understand, like, all of the slides I've done so far?
Just this line.
Just this one. All right. Sometimes people, there's a group of people in the U.S. who go into the store and only want to buy the most expensive sneakers.
Sneakers.
Yeah, sneakers. These are sneakers. Yeah, these sneakers are tennis shoes, right? Okay. So they want to buy the most expensive ones. Air Jordans. Okay. They're like expensive basketball sneakers. All right. And so try and tell me what you think, the benefit of that is. What benefit do they get out of that? Okay. Why are they doing that? And then, and tell me what, emotional goal or payoff they're getting from that. Do you understand yet?
Yes, let's talk about the product. In the sticker for in the US, Americans they like use sticker for play basketball.
Yeah, or I'm wearing sneakers today. These are for walking. All the time, every day shoes. Okay, some people only have sneakers. But why, the ad product feature is most expensive, and why, what is the benefit they get out of that? What's the emotional, payoff they get from that? That's what I want you to put yourself in the customer's spot and try and imagine why they would do that. Okay? You can do that? Okay. You understand me now?
And this sneaker just an example for the product, right?
Yeah, it could be something else. Yeah. It's just in the U.S. we have crazy people who pay hundreds of dollars for sneakers, and I don't do that. I pay $100,000 or something. But what is the benefit they get out of that, and what's the payoff they get from that? That's what I want you to figure that out and write that down.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get it.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's hard to understand me sometimes.
Hơn that. Ông kiểu tức là mình sẽ đặt mình vào vị trí là đúng rồi, là vị trí là khách hàng để suy nghĩ ở side down ra xem là tại sao mà nó đắt và nó ý là vấn đề là ý là mình bán, tại sao mình bán với cái giá như thế, tại sao mình bán với cái giá kiểu more expensive, tại sao mình mua với cái giá như thế. Tay ọt là gì? Tay ọt là gì? Tay ọt mà tức là tí là tại sao khách hàng lại tay ọt phải trả tiền cho cái việc đó. Tại sao khách hàng phải trả tiền cho việc đó, tức là ý là nó bằng nghĩa là tại sao mình bán ra đấy mà khách hàng không sẵn sàng kiểu trả tiền để mua. Đó. Xong rồi hai nữa là kiểu đặt mình một cái chữ emotional hay cảm xúc để mà khách hàng cái nó có giá trị, khách hàng mới đổ tiền nó mua. Lý do tại sao cái benefit của nó để cho khách hàng vừa có thể mua những một giá đắt và vừa có thể là cái cảm xúc khách hàng là rất sẵn sàng sẽ mua như vậy. Tại sao? Phải là nguyên cái hỏi là tại sao? tới đâu về trả tiền chưa kết quả tức là tức là mình trả tiền hay là chị trả tiền ý là câu hỏi là ý hỏi sau 2 năm em ăn chê không mới hỏi lại mới hỏi lại mệt không trả lời nổi quá trầm cảm mà người đi thi chưa đủ trầm cảm xong rồi đây là science subject em thi đủ em không biết thầy subject em không thích thầy subject nào hết em chỉ thích ăn thì tôi ok khoa học thì không em như tôi nói về kiểu physical bởi vì là physical is the original kiểu nó là nguồn gốc của sự sống ấy xong rồi em ví dụ là hai buổi chiều một cái hỏi tôi bảo với cái hai lên kiểu như là hỏi do work or study nó còn nó là cái frame đầu tiên là do work or study frame thứ hai là wedding leave thì nó sẽ là cái frame đấy thì chúng ta chọn một trong hai frame đúng nhưng nếu như chị nói là sẽ hỏi nhiều chủ đề bởi vì chị đấy là cần bản thân nó không sao hai vấn đề của em là sẽ new còn lần trước đi thi người ta bảo jewelry trang sức small business là doanh nghiệp nhỏ nó vẫn có một nhé
nhưng mình chỉ cần nói từ 2 đến 3 câu là được.
đúng rồi thì ông 2-3 câu thôi nhưng mà ví dụ như người ta hỏi chị như diễn là study thì chị không phải trả lời là I work as a teacher để nói tiếp đó kiểu thế không đâu nếu mà anh nói ngắn thì anh sẽ bị hỏi chủ đề anh nói được dài thì khi mà anh nói dài anh bị ngắn chủ đề thì anh rất mệt còn anh bị nhiều nói nhiều chủ đề thì người ta sẽ cho anh rất nhiều chủ đề và có một tâm trí não mình phải liên tục thế nó rất là mệt không thì đơn giản không tranh mọi người ra sẽ anh quyết đăng ký vào tháng 6 thay đổi cái biết không hơn là không biết đăng ký thi ở tháng 6 bây giờ là mình đăng ký thi tháng 4
bây giờ là 8 giờ không biết hỏi được mình.
anh đã học trước đấy rồi anh đã tự học kiểu mua một khóa 3
Được anh mời em ngoài
anh biết một khóa thì
dễ hiểu hơn.
nhưng mà bây giờ là khoai tây khoai lang thì mình không biết khoai lang là gì sweet potato sweet potato
em ăn không?
em ăn gì không thì ăn nhưng mà cái đấy là thôi em ăn rồi nếu mà mời em lúc sáng hẳn đấy là em ăn đấy em mê là mình sẽ đến nào ăn dày rồi ăn xôi rồi còn ăn mê ăn các bạn hơn là em ngon mà đừng có nhá cái này nó sáng lên em thích ăn đồ đây là ăn cái bánh chưng đúng không em làm được chứ ăn bánh chưng đúng không em ăn được nửa cái luôn do you wanna try sweet potato no
Yes, I do. I'm sure it's not sour like the other one. Big pieces, huh?
You can choose.
I like sweet potatoes.
You like sweet potato?
Yeah, I cook them at home.
I eat it when I need to decrease my weight.
Really? Yeah, I lost.
Because the is the less calorie. Yeah.
I lost almost 10 kilos since I moved here.
Bên Tây nấu ăn hay
Why is it funny? My clothes are all loose now.
Không phải tea break đâu, đang hỏi một câu hỏi.
Yeah, it's
Câu
good.
hỏi là thầy lấy một cái ví dụ về sneaker. Đấy, xong rồi hỏi là tại sao mà mình đặt mình ở vị trí khách hàng.
You finished the project?
No, I'm not.
This one?
Thì người yêu sneaker nói gì? Tại sao lại mua đắt? Tại vì sao quay lên nhỏ. Đúng rồi.
Trends.
đồ nặng
Trends.
2 năm đi.
Trend.
Dạ.
Người mà hay giấy chúng tôi chỉ đi giấy tao bào
Chị rồi.
Những kiểu
Em
trends.
nhìn thấy cái đôi Gucci và sticker của chị rồi.
Gió.
chị còn đi cả Samba đấy giấy Samba nhưng mà có tên Samba ba triệu mấy
Trời ơi, 4 triệu là bao nhiêu bữa xin
Có ngoại là 14 triệu.
3 triệu mấy
3 triệu mấy thôi.
3 triệu mấy.
3 triệu mấy à hôm trên em xem trên web là 3 triệu
Chị tôi còn đi giày của
Này, nhưng mà chị đeo nó thoải mái này. Cái Sapa này đeo thoải mái nhưng mà nó hơi kiểu nhiều người đi quá. Chị mua lần đầu tiên luôn.
vừa là vừa đi chi tiêu thông minh
Anh mua cái
đi
giày
theo đi dịch
2 năm không học.
Anh đừng có biết anh rồi mua cái này.
Thì cả đi 2 năm không học.
Cái đôi gì cái shopping 20.000 em có gì
cút
ok, mỗi lần là thi thoảng hay có khỏi thì sẽ có test. Ít ok.
tí hỏi lo đấy tí là hỏi liền này
Hay là
Tại sao lại không mua sneaker?
trend không
Chèn
Anh bảo tối luôn sợ rồi.
anh
Không ai sẽ có các bạn lên
đấy sneaker tất cả những đôi này là sneaker
gọi là sneaker.
đúng rồi nó là tên chung
anh bớt quê đi. Từ quê quá.
chứ rồi đi học sinh viên không đi về
em sẽ là người update rồi.
Mẹ là tất cả tình yêu bao la tại cho mẹ ơi con yêu mẹ lắm.
thôi ai trả lời thì chịu mệt lắm thì còn em 60 nghìn em vẫn chịu cả bây giờ em chịu cả lúc này cứ xin để
Không được lần này lần sau.
ôi 4 triệu 7 thì không thể lần sau được mình chỉ xét thôi
Mà sao nó chết thành 2 ngày để đi để lại.
thì chị phải đăng ký từ một ngày chị phải đăng ký trước chị phải trước tức là nó sẽ giúp trong đi 3 tháng vào ngày A nó sẽ có lịch thi vào ngày trước ngày hoặc sau ngày hoặc không nhưng mà bây giờ đi 2 ngày trước hoặc không em chọn thi sau tại sao em chọn thi sau
So,
em thích
are you finished with the
50
sneaker thing, right? It didn't take long. Okay, you finished? Okay. So let's hear people's ideas. Let's, you in the back, can you tell us yours first? She didn't give me a microphone today, so you have to speak up. Come on up here. Come on. Tell people. Yeah, come up here so people can hear you. You're too quiet. Maybe this will work.
Không, here you may be going. No, can I sit here?
Huy này đủ rồi á
Can I sit here just wait?
no để đi nói
No, you can hear my voice from the back.
Then stand up because I can't hear you very well. There, you
Này
need
nhưng mà
to
học nốt thầy ngày mai nó
project.
đây
Mai thì học.
Okay, I think the
Cái chiều
reason
mai học
why
gì?
Chiều mai học gì ạ?
the most basic speaker
Cái chiều mai là đi chơi gì?
I think it's one of the biggest brand.
Okay, and go on.
And about the training,
What?
the training.
fashionable?
Yeah, fashionable.
Okay, and why do they care about that? I know teenage girls think fashionable is like the highest emotional payoff, but it's not. Like, why do people want to look at fashionable? So, you feel like respected?
Yeah, and I feel happy when people admire my fashion.
Yeah. All everything's about being happy. It's like the pathway to happy is what I'm thinking about. Like being fashionable. I mean, I can be fashionable, but it doesn't make me happy. You know, but for you, being fashionable makes you happy. So being fashionable makes you happy because it makes you feel that you look good to others, and that and that makes you feel respected. Okay.
Anh không làm thế này vậy?
All right. So, okay, who wants to speak in your group?
In my group.
Này, nghĩa là cái sẽ thì nó sẽ chuyển đổi cho cái
Or did you all do separately?
Pardon?
Did you all do it separately, or do you want one person to speak?
Yes, about the speaker, I think many people will pay a lot of money for for a product because the trend. I think many young people will buy a Chinese sticker.
Trendy?
Yeah.
Okay, they want to pay more money because it's trendy, and why do they care about that?
And I think a lot of famous people reputation for this brand for this product.
Okay, so they, yeah. So most very expensive because it's they want to buy that because it's worn by famous people and it has a high trendy image.
Yeah.
And and that's important to them because
Important because they can. I think they can becomes Chinese person and
Yeah.
fashion person.
they want to be accepted by others, right? They want to be part of the group and have a sense of belonging. They want to feel like they're part of the group.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a personal goal, emotional goal. People want to be accepted and feel like they're part of the group, right?
Yeah.
Most people.
Yes, most of them.
Yeah. Some of us don't, but most people. Okay. All right. Who's going to speak for your group?
Hai basic sneaker. The first is the Stock brand. That means the famous brand name. And sometimes we got most handmade or craftsmanship sneaker. And we got to teach for the special design. That means no design or only one or something. So have a limit of the person can use this sneaker. So that they buy the basic. The limitation, that means only they have only issue the 10 note of the sneaker only. And the special material. For the material, so we went by special.
So it's very expensive because it's got exclusive, high quality ingredients.
High quality material.
All right. And then why does anyone care about that?
Because the material affect to the person. So they want to use the high quality, maybe the laser. The high quality of the laser.
high quality of the
Laser.
Yes, the material, yeah.
Aesthetic.
Okay.
Sometimes the aesthetic, the speed, affect to the speed.
So it'd be more comfortable to wear, better getting back to social acceptance and, being part of the group again. They want to buy, it's almost like people, this craze of buying like really expensive shoes that went out of the US, Air Jordans, Michael Jordan's shoes and things. In the US, people were actually killing other people to take their shoes. Amazing, right? It's true. And because they're sneakers. They were killing each other because they wanted their sneakers. And that's ridiculous, right? And so this is, because they're trying to buy membership into a group. They want to have membership into this group of cool people who wear expensive sneakers, right? I call it the Idiots Club. But they all wanted to pay enormous prices for sneakers that probably cost $10 to make in China. $11. And then they pay hundreds of dollars for them because of the image, because of the branding. But they're trying to buy membership into a group. It's like their cheap version of a country club. Rich people buy memberships of country clubs to show that, just so they can be part of the group. But poor people, they buy expensive shoes to be part of the group. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. Coming by, am I really starting to make progress? Are you starting to feel like you get what I mean yet? No, I guess not. Okay. Are you starting to understand me yet? Do you understand me?
About this line,
Yeah, about all these things, yeah.
sorry, I'm not here. Anything else when you will move to this line.
Okay, but no, but are you starting to understand all of this, these lines and things?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about something people use every day: tires. We use tires every day, right? Most of us do. I walk, but most of you rode here on something, either a scooter or a bicycle or a car, but everybody uses tires. Okay, so we did research work. We're trying to make, whenever you're trying to position your product or make a new image for your product, you're really inventing a new product. So we try and be entrepreneurs in the tire market. Seems kind of boring, right? Tires have been around for how many years? About a little over 100. I think first cars were invented in the early 1900s. So tires have been around a long time, and so we want to think what kind of means and change we use for design and marketing for that. And so now that we've practiced on shoes a little bit, let's just start out without any clues. It's just, I want you to talk to each other and interview each other, so to speak. Or, we'll get into more how to interview later this afternoon. But I want you to talk to each other in your groups and try and figure out what are the product attributes of tires. Okay, it's important that you listen to me right now. Okay, what are the product features of tires? Okay, and then how do those connect to benefits and emotional payoffs for people? Okay, how do tires become important? Because when you go to buy tires, if you have a car or you buy a car next year or when you get rich, all right, so when you buy tires, you have to put some thought into it. Like you go to buy tires, they say, here's the cheap ones, here's the expensive ones, here's the middle ones, and you try and decide what's important, which things are important to you. So, so I want you to spend time in your group now and try and figure out, you know, the different things, chains that are important to you if you're going to buy tires for a car. Okay? Think you can do that? You need help? You never bought tires, right? So, if you want me to help you, I will. Tires. You don't think about them, but they're important.
Should bicycle, so I need to use 4 tires for my shoe bicycles.
You have to buy new tires sometimes?
Not really.
No. Okay. Pretend you have a car. He has a car. You can ask him about tires. He has an electric car, they wear out tires faster than gas-powered cars. Because the 0 to 60 for electric is very fast, so people tend to spin their tires a lot, so it wears a lot faster.
Ê, alo, em Duyên đã thu câu hỏi gì đấy đúng không?
Có chứ. Bởi vì ví dụ như đi xe nó gắn đường không bị chở thêm chở nó có thể chỉ chở. Đấy là
Chứ là
một số cái là ví dụ như tùy theo cái style của nó đưa thể thao thì xem cái lỗ nó nhẹ hơn chỉ được khi hơn thì vậy còn ví dụ như cái thằng nó là kéo dốc thì nó là cái độ bảo chỉnh nhẹ hơn có định thì ở ngang cái style thì nó tùy theo cái khách hàng thì khách hàng đưa cho
không, và người gót là cái phần cuối cùng, là cái phần cuối cùng ấy.
Chưa học từ từ này mà. Mình chưa học từ thể thao
Đây này mở đấy này quay là phần này này. Đây này positive work quality for đây positive work quality for effective leadership. Không, phần thắng nó chỉ là critical, nó chỉ là em, tức là đây nó chỉ là phần nghĩa